Hello everyone, Skippy here. And welcome to the last of the series director episodes that kick off Wano with episode 894. 894 is directed by Ayo Komaki and supervised by Yusuke Isochi, who both have long histories with the One Piece anime. Komaki's first episode on the TV anime was episode 453, where she directed from Tetsuya Endo's storyboard before becoming a regular director with episode 465, which she both boarded and directed. From then on, she would direct quite a few of the best episodes in the Marineford arc, such as episode 474 and episode 484, where she showed her knack for really well done emotional direction, with storyboards that had insane scale, colors, and lighting that perfectly fit the moment. She would go on to cement herself as the ace director of the TV anime, directing several of the anime's best episodes like 561 and 677, which showed off her aforementioned skills and then some, becoming the director to really rely on for big, meaningful moments. Towards the end of the Dressrosa arc, though, Komaki took a break from seemingly the industry as a whole after storyboarding episode 731, leaving most of the episodes she would be given to new up-and-coming director Yasunori Koyama. Komaki wouldn't be seen on the TV anime again till the Whole Cake Island arc, where she directed amazing episodes like 824 and 875, which showed us an even more powerful Komaki than before, with an even prettier composite. Through this all, you can absolutely see why she's so highly regarded on the anime, coincidentally having some of her best episodes with supervisor Yusuke Isochi. Isochi is known as the president of anime outsourcing studio Studio Guts, who have been providing the One Piece TV anime with its services for over 10 years by supervising and animating entire episodes for it, starting with episode 330. Originally it was Masayuki Fujita and later Yukiku Nakatani who would supervise Guts episodes, but starting with episode 646, Isochi would take over as supervisor for the episodes from then onwards, and would display his consistency as a supervisor with very polished yet different art that made him one of the best supervisors on the anime. Though he is very infamous for his huge foreheads and tendency to draw huge breasts on the women in the series, becoming a sort of pseudo-successor to famed supervisor on the anime, Eisaku Inoue. He did tone down both a bit in his latest episode on the anime with episode 877, but they still remain very much visible regardless. For the last series director episode that kicks off this arc, I am extremely pleased to report that this episode is just as phenomenal as we would expect from the staff on board. Adaptation-wise, this is a much simpler episode than what was on display last week. This episode covers the last 6 pages of Chapter 911 and the first 6 pages of Chapter 912, and is essentially a one-to-one adaptation, with a few small changes and additions here and there. In terms of added filler, they added a tiny scene of Luffy docking the Sunny before going to Tama's house, and a very nicely directed scene of Tama cooking the rice that she feeds to Luffy. It's not really too extensive as it is just small in the grand scheme of things, but it's additions like this that I feel really add more meat to the bone that was the original chapters. It's cute, it's harmless, and when you consider that they also extended the Ace and Otama flashback a little bit, you can definitely see that it's only there to make the overall experience even better. In terms of rearranging though, there's actually not as much when compared to the added filler. The only scene that was really rearranged was the introduction of Hawkins being moved from right before Luffy learns about Otama and Ace to the very end of the episode. Last week's episode left off at a weird point due to very little rearranging of content going on there, so I'm actually glad that this scene was moved to the end of the episode instead of the middle of it. It doesn't disrupt the overall flow of the episode, and it does its job at getting you hyped for what's to come. All that put together makes for a really solid and well-done adaptation that I had very little issue with. The intent of the original chapters still flowed very well, and any and all changes were more just there to make the episode an even better overall experience. Mix all that together with the absolutely lush scenery that this episode has to offer, and you've got probably the best adaptation for anime to manga since this arc's first episode. If I had to describe Komaki's board in 2 words, they would be versatile and vibrant. In this episode, Komaki shows off that she's not only just a master of scale and emotion, but also a master of bringing variety to a storyboard. You're presented as a viewer with all these gorgeous and well done wallpaper shots that are threaded together so seamlessly. For every cool showcase of scale, Komaki also throws in a cool transitional shot during the flashback or a cool establishing shot that really helps sell the episode. The board is just packed with an extra amount of flair that really keeps keeps you more invested in the episode than you would be without it. And Komaki's absolutely gorgeous use of compositing helps that. Scenes are lit properly, and it almost feels cinematic with just how well the characters are placed into these environments. It helps grab your attention and really make you feel the emotional or comedic weight of the scenes shown off. On top of all that, Komaki even goes the extra mile and exceeds the original manga visually. Scenes like Diaz Drake's attack on Amigasa Village and Luffy's talk with the Tengu are made even better by Komaki taking creative liberties visually to really add an extra punch to these scenes. Whether it be actually seeing said attack or just seeing how much character is on display in Luffy's conversation, Komaki's creativity shines throughout this entire board. Komaki was given free reign to do whatever the hell she wanted with the storyboard, and I am so glad that she went all out. It's one thing if a director can really sell you the original story in an animated form, but it's another thing if a director can really seize that opportunity and make something truly special with what they're given, and Komaki was very much so able to do just that. This episode is outsourced 100% to Studio Guts on the animation side, so there's no in-house Toei staff on board here. Despite that though, the animators at Studio Guts show themselves as more than capable enough to produce a really well animated episode that keeps the character acting train going full on. Whether it be Otama's character acting at the start or Luffy's aforementioned conversation with the Tengu, this episode is absolutely brimming with life, and you can tell just how much fun Studio Guts had with it. There may not be a lot in terms of pure standout scenes aside from maybe Drake's attack, but there's enough really cool animation peppered throughout that makes it more than just your average One Piece episode. I can't exactly really attribute any of these small cuts to anyone on the staff list due to a sheer lack of scenes that are confirmed to be them, but I will say that I am absolutely stoked to see what they have to offer in the future because they have a lot of talent. Yusuke Isochi's art only helps bring it all together with his distinct foreheads and body types showcased at every moment. He's definitely still channeling a bit of that Inoue-esque style here, but I'd be lying if I said that it wasn't super polished and a treat to look at. Isochi's one of the most interesting supervisors on the anime, so I am absolutely glad to see that he is still kicking even with his large heads and thin eyebrows. However, Isochi isn't the only supervisor on this episode. Previous Studio Guts supervisor Yukiko Nakatani pops up to supervise the rest of the episode shortly after the Tengu arrives. While a bit of her art ends up being corrected by Chief Animation Supervisor Keiichi Ichikawa, her soft and lovely style remains at the forefront of her entire section. While her Luffy may have changed a bit since the Fishman Island days, with that no doubt having to do with the change of character designer, you still get an eyeful of Nakatani's softer take on the overall One Piece look, and it is just a joy to look at. She's not likely to stick around as she is very heavily involved with the Procure franchise, but it was very nice to see her attend another One Piece episode after 5 straight years of being off the TV anime. It was a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one, and I think that statement really sums up this episode as a whole. I in no way expected any of these episodes to surpass Nagamine's own, but Komaki absolutely managed to, and she did so flawlessly, creating quite possibly the most standout episode of the 3. It really gave a nice farewell to Wano before we take a little break from the arc starting next week with Yutaka Nakashima and Masahiro Kitazaki's first of 2 filler episodes pertaining to the upcoming One Piece film, One Piece Stampede. Movie filler doesn't have the greatest track record in the anime, but I'd be lying if I said that the preview didn't have me interested. We may be breaking off from Wano for a bit, but I don't think the anime is done treating us just yet. Anyways guys, that's it for now. I'm Skippy, and I seriously can't believe that I'm actually looking forward to filler.